Today we are going to talk about how to get organized. This is our #2 most popular article on our website of all time. People just cannot seem to grasp how to get organized because it seems like this nebulous idea out there that some moms that are type A can get, but other moms it's just hopeless. Well, there is a happy medium. And so today we're going to talk about how to get organized. We've got 10 tips, so we're going to make 10 different videos on this. And we are starting with tip #1 today, which is...
never stop picking up.
Ever, ever, ever. Never, ever stop picking up. You have to keep going all the time.
As you walk from room to room to room.
Yeah.
If I'm walking to go to the bathroom, each room I walk through, I pick up as I go along doing it.
And Grandma, Mom's mom, one time said that her neighbor had an immaculate house, and she asked her one time, how did you do that? And she said, I never leave a room without taking something to put up in another room, which is a good tip, and I never am able to keep up with that even, but it's a good idea to always keep in mind when you're headed downstairs, take that thing that's sitting on the stairs with you as you go and put it where it belongs. And don't just dump it. Put it on the shelf or in the cabinet where it belongs.
Another thing too is when I'm waiting for things, I pick up. For example, if I put something in the microwave, I'll take and put the silverware away in the drawer, or I'll clean off a section of the cabinet or something like that. When I put the kids down, if I tuck them into bed, while they're telling me yak, 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 you know, they always stall when they go to bed and they want to talk to you then. So they're yakking at me, talking, and I'll be picking up odds and ends around their bedroom as they're talking to me for different things. The office, if I'm waiting for the computer to even kick in for something and I'm having to wait there, I will straighten around that computer. So you just keep, you know, constantly when you're waiting for things.
Yeah, use the little bits of time. Even just, you would be amazed at if you're watching a TV show, how much you can get done in the 3 to 5 minutes of just a commercial. And we both have chronic fatigue syndrome, and I have fibromyalgia also. And there's a lot of days we are not well enough to pick up the house. But while we're watching HGTV, we will, during every commercial, you can get the dishes done. You can get the dishwasher unloaded. You can get a load of laundry put in. You can get a load of laundry moved from the washer to the dryer. You can get a load of laundry folded while you're watching TV. So just always find those little bits of time.
We can't do a long stretch. We can't clean for an hour or two. It's just too wearing on.
It's just too much.
But we clean for 5 minutes and then rest in between. That's why we do the commercial on the TV thing. Another thing is you do a lot is when the kids are in the bathtub, clean the bathroom counter. And pick up towels or do anything like that. You do a lot of that. Yeah,
I've had 4 little kids, and my bathroom usually stays fairly clean because the only time I clean...
You clean them a lot, don't you?
The bathroom, it seems, is when they're in the tub, which isn't true. I mean, I clean it, you know, the kids clean it daily, and then I clean it really good 2 times a week at least. But I do it while they're in the tub because for some reason kids always want you sitting there entertaining them, even when they're older. The little ones, you have to be there. But it's a good way to use that time up to get something done without wearing yourself out doing it. So, yeah.
And you don't have to think about it. You don't have to make a schedule. You don't have to fill out a big long form and say, this is my thing that I have to get done. If it's laying there, pick it up and put it away. You don't need to be told, I have to pick this item up. You should be able to just go ahead and pick it up and put it away. Another thing, too, that helps as far as the picking up is plan for the family to have different times during the day. For example, with you guys, the kids, before they could eat breakfast in the morning, because the kids are hungry and they wanted to eat right away, but I wasn't torturing you, did I? I would take and say, okay, as soon as your bedroom's picked up and you're dressed, we'll have breakfast. You would not believe how fast they got that bedroom picked up wanting to eat compared to if I let them eat first and then they would just dawdle picking up the bedroom. So I set certain times. You pick up before you eat breakfast in the morning to go to school. The room's nice and clean. Then there would be other times before bed at night. You'd have to pick up, you know, the bedroom so that when they get up in the morning, they really didn't have that much in the morning to actually pick up. And so maybe at, you know, what everybody's done watching a movie, say, okay, take 10 minutes, everybody pick up 20 items in the family room, depending on how dirty your family room is.
Another thing is get them in the habit of doing it.
Exactly,
Our kids know before bed, we spend 10 to 15 minutes and we get everything picked up. You can set a timer for 10 minutes. You can do it however you want. For us, we say, you find all your stuff and pick it up. Or we say, find 10 pieces of trash and pick it up. And that makes it sound like our house is totally trashed, which at the moment, if you could see it, it is. We've been sick for 10 days, and it looks pretty trashed. But it's amazing, just little bits of cough drop papers or tissue here or a piece of paper that was cut that fell on the floor. Just have my 5-year-old, I say, find 10 pieces of trash and pick it up. And he does. With the teenagers, we have 3 teenagers, we say, okay, you can go to your friend's house or you can go to the movie, but you have to get all of your chores done and everything picked up first. Don't let them go until they do it. If they're late, that's their problem. Now, you need to give them an hour, hour and a half's notice, but don't spring it on them as they're walking out the door. But don't let them walk out the door until it's done, and make that a habit that for our kids, the cat box has to be cleaned out before you're done. The vacuuming has to be done before you can go. So make it a habit, and that will help.
Another thing, too, that I find a lot of people are doing, and I don't understand why, and that is they're making one child pick up everybody's dirty underwear from all the bedrooms.
Oh, yeah. Why?
Or they make them pick up everybody else's trash. And you can to a certain extent. Sometimes everybody has to pitch in, and pick up the papers and stuff. But don't make it a scheduled thing. You have to get everybody's towels that they've dumped in the bathroom. Each person needs to be responsible for their own self, to pick up their own laundry, to pick up their own towels and their own trash in the family room. So the kids resent that. They start resenting it, get very angry, and then the chores become something they hate and despise instead of just a pleasant habit. Well, it's never pleasant for kids, but it's just, instead of it becoming a habit, that they know that's part of life. But if you make them do everybody else's stuff, they get resentful. Another thing is, I found it helps if you work together.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the kitchen. One's drying the dishes, one's washing the dishes, one's clearing the table. You're all visiting and you're all talking. People don't talk anymore. I know they're all on their phones, but when you get them up doing the chores together like that, everybody's visiting and interacting. I hear people say, we spend such and such bonding time with our kids at this hour on this day.
Quality time is a sham.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. You should be bonding with your kids every moment you're around them, basically. And that means bonding in the sense that you're talking, you're visiting. It doesn't have to be a specific, let's all go camping together so we can bond with each other. You should be interacting during the day, and that's the way to get them to interact too, and get them off the phones or the computers and start interacting. Yeah, and they do, when
they're picking up, have to be off the phones, Kindle, computer, everything. Everybody is off
TV
of everything.
Turned off.
Yeah, and to go back just a little bit, for the whole picking up thing, when our kids are about a year old is when we start having them do chores. And I know people are like, what? But they know, and when they start walking, they can carry their little shirts and pants and underwear to the laundry room. And they can carry stuff to the trash can when they're that little.
They love it too. They love doing it.
And they think it's cool. I say that, but then we did have quite a major mishap. When my number 3 child, my third child, was 18 months or 2 years old, I had set my wedding ring on the stairs because I was painting the outside of the house and I didn't want to walk in, and so I just set it on the stairs. And my wedding ring disappeared afterwards. And we couldn't find it. Mike had vacuumed, and we thought he'd sucked it up, but we couldn't find it in the vacuum bag, and it was just gone. My wedding ring was gone. We thought, what in the world? So about 3 or 4 days later, I think he was about 2 years old then, he said, Mom, we were talking about losing my wedding ring. He said, oh, yeah, I threw it in the trash. So it can kind of backfire. The trash had already gone out for the week, so there was no way we could find it. So they really do love throwing away things in the trash. Yeah, so you got to be a little bit careful, but they can start helping out when they're that young. Just don't be afraid to get them started. They don't have to be 10 years old to get started. Start them when they're really little. 12, 18 months is a good age to get going.
And one thing, too, when they're little, which drives Tara and Mike crazy when they have to listen to it, or my son and daughter-in-law, is we sing silly songs. We do make up silly games. Let's see who can get, all these put in this section, or pick up 5 socks, or pick up something, and you make it a game. Sometimes when they're tiny, if you make games, then they learn to chores aren't a drudgery. It's just more of this is the way life is. It's like you get up and get dressed every morning, you get up and do your chores every day, and it's not, you don't dread it. Stop making messes.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, now that seems obvious. And you're like, well, but it's not my mess. Well, that's true. If you have husbands and kids, I totally get it. I have 5, well, not 5 husbands. wow, I'd really be in trouble. I have 5 kids and 1 husband. And so yes, it is harder when you have husband and kids. But
they can be trained.
They can be trained.
Even husbands.
You can do several things to help with this. So first is keep a trash can in every room. And in some rooms, we keep 2 or 3 trash cans. Like in our office, we have 3 different trash cans by each computer station because we work at home and we have one. When you have trash, you don't want to have to get up and walk clear into the kitchen to throw away one piece of trash. So keep a trash can in every single room.
Well, look at like in the family room. How often do you sit in the family room having a snack? The kids will have wrappers, bags of stuff. And if there's a trash can right there, they would be more willing to throw it in the trash can there than to get up and walk into the kitchen and have to throw it away. And it saves time too, really, when you think about it. And in, say, in the bedroom, cough drop wrappers, tissues, stuff like that, don't leave them piling on a chest of drawers. Wait until you're going to take them into the kitchen to throw them away. If you have a trash can sitting right there, they'll get tossed in there. Offices, every bathrooms.
Well, even Grandma, her mom, she sews a lot. So she took a paper bag and she rolled the top down and she pinned it to the edge of her chair that she sits in. And so when she is sewing, she just puts her little pieces of thread or her cough drop wrappers and that kind of thing in there. We do keep a trash can even in like our boys' room and in my my wonderful husband made me a storage slash wrapping room, craft room, that kind of thing out of this little area that we had in our basement. And even then there, I keep a trash can. And for one of the chores, we just have one of the kids go around and empty all the little, we call them little trash cans, all over the house the day before trash day. And that way you don't have trash all over the place. It is amazing how many houses just have trash. I mean, it's just trash. Pop cans, pizza boxes.
Sitting in the family room, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes the house look messy if you just have that. So, you know, if you prevent that mess in the first place by just tossing it in the trash. Well, another thing, too, is like you make messes in the kitchen without realizing it with wrapping paper. You know, you'll put a margarine wrapper, butter wrapper, something on the counter. Don't put it in the
bar wrappers.
Yeah, or even an ice cream container.
Yeah.
Put it straight into the trash. Don't just lay it on the counter because you're making a mess by getting the sticky, gooey, greasy.
And it melts all over the table.
Exactly. So just put it away. You know, you don't need to lay it on the counter. Or even like dirty spoons.
Yeah.
If you're mixing something for lunch, don't lay that dirty spoon on the counter. Another thing that I push.
What do you do with the dirty spoon, though?
You rinse it and you put it in the dishwasher.
People don't do that. It takes literally 2 seconds.
Yeah, and why lay it down like several different times? Instead of laying it down, you're wasting time laying it down, picking it back up later to put it on. You can just take it and lay it in the dishwasher.
Or at the very least, get it in the sink. Don't put the dirty, sticky thing. If for some reason you can't get the dishwasher open, let's say somebody needs to unload it, at least get it in the sink.
Because then you have this counter where it's dried on. When you finally get to around to washing the dishes and wiping down the counter, you've got to scrub twice as long for this.
Yeah, and when you cook, immediately, as soon as you're done cooking, if you can't rinse it and put it in the dishwasher, at least fill it with hot water to start soaking.
Exactly. Wipe up after yourself.
Yeah.
If you spill something, immediately wipe it up. Don't let it sit there and dry and get hard and gooky. Because then I timed it the other day, and it took me 1 minute when I swiped it. No, it wasn't even a minute. It was more like 30 seconds. But it took me a minute and a half to try to scrub it when it was dry. I tested it just to see for this type of thing. Another thing to help control the messes or to keep from making a mess in the house that a lot of people do is when you're changing clothes. You just drop your dirty clothes right there and put the new clean ones on. You drop your pajamas on the floor. Don't. Put your pajamas away where they're supposed to be. If your clothes are dirty, put them in the hamper. Keep a hamper in every room. Don't just have it in the laundry room. Your kids will not pick those dirty clothes up and walk to the laundry room to put them in. They'll drop them on the floor where they'll lay until it's time to wash everything, and then they'll gather them up. Why let them lay there for 2 or 3 days? You know,
and if your bathroom is big enough, and I get it, some people have really tiny bathrooms. I've had my share of tiny bathrooms, but if your bathroom is big enough, keep a hamper in the bathroom if it's possible. Why make it hard on your husband and kids? There's no reason for them to walk clear across the house to the laundry room to put their clothes up if you have the space. If not, train them to just take it in there. But
and it saves
make
time.
it easy.
It saves time. If you take every piece of laundry and have to walk to the laundry room compared to having a hamper in that room, do you know how much time over a week's period you would save in doing things? No wonder people hate organizing, because they work at it so hard and they spend so much time.
Yeah, and make it easy for them. So,
one time my husband, I couldn't, when the first year we were married, I had a hamper there that had the lid that closed, and my husband, he always got the clothes on top of the hamper. He would throw them and they would land right on the hamper, and I was so frustrated. I thought, why can't he just put the clothes, open the lid and put the clothes in the hamper? And finally, after about 6 months of this and us going round and round on this hamper issue, we went back to his home and stayed in his old bedroom visiting his folks, and I noticed the hamper in his closet had no lid on it. So what he was doing, all those years he'd been trained, he had gotten really good at shooting the clothes into the hamper without the lid, and they would go into the hamper. I went home, I took the lid off of our hamper, and the problem was solved. I no longer had clothes piled all over the top of the hamper. They went in. Think of little things. If you see your family's making a mess in one area, think, what can I do different
to solve that problem?
Yes, and to change
if there's always trash in your living room next to the recliner, put a trash can there.
Yeah, if you're finding trash, they're not getting it to the trash can that you have, try it in another section of the room. Look where like you said, where the trash is ending up, and move the trash can to there. So,
and another thing for bedrooms and that closets, I guess is what I'm thinking. Have a place to hang up clothes. First of all, when you get in there, take your clothes off, and if you can wear them again, we have a little rack in our closet where we hang clothes that can be worn again. We do not wash our jeans every day. If we wear them for a week, we're not farmers. I'm a gardener, so if they get really bad, but I just have a pair of gardening pants that I wear every day, and once a week or so we'll wash our jeans. So have some hooks in your closet if possible to hang up clothes that can be used again, or your pajamas, that kind of thing. Otherwise, hang your clothes up immediately. Don't just lay them on the ground. Don't lay them on your dresser or whatever.
Even like in the bathroom, though, don't allow the towels to be laid on the floor.
Yeah.
When you dry off your towel, teach the kids where to put that wet towel. Either put it on the rack. They need to be trained. When they get out of the tub, it needs to go on. That bathroom should be left the exact same way as when the person walked in. They can hang their towel up on a rack, and they can gather up their dirty clothes as they're leaving the bathroom and put them away. They don't need to, leave a mess.
Now, disclaimer here. This does not always happen in my house with 5 kids.
This is the ideal.
Just so you don't think I'm perfect or something. I am always hollering at the kids. Okay, come in. Whoever was taking a shower, pick up the bath mat, pick up the towel, put up your toothpaste. And yeah, it's a pain in the rear. I'm not saying it's not, but
go ahead.
They're responsible for it. So if they're playing a game or something, I make them go in there and pick it up.
Never procrastinate.
Think ahead and organize for the future, which is kind of weird. But basically, it's plan ahead.
Like if you're planning your meal, and you don't have to plan necessarily a month's worth of dinners, but when you get up in the morning, think, okay, this is what I'm going to have for dinner tonight or supper tonight, and think, okay, I need to get this meat out of the freezer. I need to make sure I have this item. You can check the items that you're going to have. And by doing that simple little meal planning that maybe takes you 5 minutes in the morning, it saves you coming home from work or at the end of the day frantically thinking, what am I going to have now? What am I going to have now? And scrounging through the cabinets where it's a difference of like 5 minutes and like 20 minutes. Then what I find people do when they don't plan what they're going to have for supper that evening, they stew about it all day long. You may not totally have it in the front part of your mind, but you think, it's just there, nagging. I got to figure out what we're going to have for supper.
So just a disclaimer. We have written, is it 4 or 5? I don't know, 4 or 5 cookbooks on this very subject. Our Menus on a Dime and our Dining on a Dime cookbook. But I still have a problem with this. But the thing is, most families eat the same 10 meals all the time. And in our books, we have, between all of the books, we have a couple of 100 meal ideas for all different kinds of things. We have quick meals, we have crock pot, we have just leftovers, that kind of thing. But
we had the whole menu written out.
Yeah, we have the whole entire menu for you already written out.
They're simple and easy.
Simple, quick. Most of them, we have chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. We do not spend a long time cooking in the kitchen. We don't bake our own bread all the time. We like to. It's a fun hobby. We don't do it. It doesn't save money. But My whole point is, most people eat about the same 10 to 12 meals all the time. If nothing else, just write down what you had for dinner that day for 10 days to 2 weeks. And then
you have that list to refer back to then.
Yeah, and for me, even though I don't plan all the time, what I do is I keep on hand in my pantry things to eat. Because we're
for those 10 meals.
Because we're sick, I always feel nauseated for most of the day, and absolutely nothing sounds good to me. And so I have a really hard time thinking of what to come up for dinner. But I always keep the ingredients on hand for quesadillas, for tacos, for sloppy joes.
Tater tot casserole.
Yeah, tater tot casserole. Really easy things. And then all I do is I just slice up some fresh vegetables. We almost every night have sliced cucumbers, carrots, tomatoes, those kinds of things I just slice up. And everybody can just pour some ranch dressing on them if they want it, or they eat it plain, and add some applesauce and maybe some, chips and salsa, that kind of thing. Don't make it hard. It does not have to be a gourmet meal, people. I mean, hello. Yeah. People make this way too complicated.
And putting it off makes it harder.
Yeah. And so,
it's more complicated when you put anything off. For example, like when the kids walk in from school, immediately get those papers that they need to take back the next day, sign them, and put them right back in the backpack. Do you know how much time that takes? Just a few seconds, right there, do that. You got to know where the papers are. Compared to the next morning, the kids can't ever remember what happened to them, or they get out of the backpack or mixed up.
And write it on the calendar immediately. As soon as you see that paper, walk over to the calendar and just write it on there. And one tip I do is if I need to keep a paper, like field trip instructions or something, I will take a paper clip and clip it to the back of my calendar. Then when I need it, it's right there. We have 5 kids, so sometimes that can be a lot of paperwork. Just keep a file folder right next to your calendar and just slip those papers that need to be dealt with
it right away.
Right away. Don't leave it laying around all over the kitchen, all over the living room. Just get it done.
More time is wasted procrastinating. You can just double, triple, quadruple the amount of time you waste, where if you just done it, did it right, had done it right away, you would really save. Another thing that it's not so much procrastinating, but it kind of saves time. If you, the night before you go to bed, if you immediately, get your clothes planned out, have the kids lay out their clothes, and don't put it off and wait till morning when everybody's saying, this is in the laundry, I need this right now. If you've planned the night before or even early, you know what the clothes that they need.
Along
and it goes
with
faster.
Along with that, don't have too many clothes. We have an article, which is one of our top articles, I think it's number 3 or 4 on our website, on how many clothes do I need. And stop just buying so many clothes. For me, one of the best organizing things I ever did was I threw away my entire family's, all of their socks. I threw them all away. Okay, so I know I'm going to get emails about that. I donated the good ones, and I saved some of them for rags. I didn't just throw them away, but I got them out of the house, or if they were rags, I put them in the rag bag. Then I spent $40, and I bought everybody their own kind of socks. My husband has solid black socks. My oldest son has white with gray toes. My younger son has white socks with red lettering. My middle son, my youngest son, has all socks with a little check mark on them, and my daughter has the little short socks, and I have plain white or plain black socks. That way, when you do the laundry, you don't have socks all over the place trying to figure it out. So in the morning when they're getting dressed, they don't have to go through all these socks to figure out what matches what. You have white or black, that's it. Make it simple. Now, I know ladies are going to have a cow with this, I know. But, you got to make your life simple. And since we're sick, we just cannot afford to waste time doing things like looking for clothes and that kind of thing.
And as far as procrastinating, we can't procrastinate because we forget it then.
Yeah.
Really forget it. We don't just procrastinate. We just, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah, because with our chronic fatigue syndrome, we have no brain power.
And another thing, too, that helps me is if I see something, it kind of goes with the picking up of things. I don't think, okay, I'm going to come back to this later and pick it up later. No. If I see it there, I pick it up immediately and take it into the other room. Otherwise, if I put it off, I'll totally forget about it, And, stop thinking about it. You sit there thinking, how am I going to do this? Well, I need to figure out how to do this. Just get up and do it.
So, number 5 is?
Don't give up. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, I would like to address this because, I mean, you can pop in, but my kids are grown and gone. And I remember what it was like. I kept teaching them the same thing over and over. Pick up this, Tara, take your panties off the piano and put them in the hamper. You know, just pick things up. You know, put the dirty dishes in the sink. And it was just a constant battle, it felt like, when they were younger. Over and over. I thought, well, they never learn. I would tell them the same thing 100 times, and they still wouldn't learn. They grew up. They did an amazing thing. They grew up, and I had to laugh and chuckle because then they got married on their own, and they actually started practicing what I'd spent 18 years teaching them that I thought hadn't even gone in at all. So it's like the story about Thomas Edison trying over and over and over and over to do the light bulb. You know, how many hundreds of times did he do that? And he finally succeeded. That's the way you need to think of your children. Mm-hmm. You just have to do it over and over and over. And in the end, when they're grown and gone, they will have succeeded.
Yeah. And when you're dealing with kids, you have to keep calm about it. Now, granted, I do lose my cool now and then. But as a whole, I really don't yell at my kids. I saw an article the other day about ebook, I think, on how to stop yelling at your kids. Just don't do it. Ask nicely. They are practicing this for when they're adults.
Be patient.
Just say, you left your toothpaste and toothbrush out. Go in and put it back up. Our kids have it just happened to be this way, that our bathroom cabinet is that each individual child could have their own bathroom drawer. So it's easier for us, but you could have a little
container?
Yeah, a little container like mason jar container or a little soup jar or whatever, to just put all their toothbrush and their hairbrush and everything in there. And it is practice. So just tell them, just say, you know, you left your stuff out. You're not going outside until you get it picked up.
Well, and you have to remember, they're learning. We seem to forget as an adult, I know to put my toothpaste away. As a child, it's like if you're going to a new job, how many times do they have to tell you on that new job over and over because you don't understand it, you don't know it, and you have to practice it over and over. And we forget that in a child. We think we tell them once, we tell them twice, and they should have it down pat and always remember it. They can't. It's no different than you learning a new job, and you want other people when you're on that job to be patient with you because you're trying your best. As long as they're trying, that's the most important thing, and not rebelling and being angry.
And be consistent.
Yes.
When you're consistent, and I always ask them to go back in the bathroom and pick up their towels or their toothbrush or get back in here and do your portion of the cleaning up after dinner. Just be consistent. They all know they do. It's like roaches after dinner. They all scatter. And I'm like, hello, you guys know every night after dinner. So I'm always hollering at them, not yelling. I'm just saying, get back in here. You're not doing anything until the dishes are done. You're not doing anything until the table's cleared, wiped, dishwasher's loaded. They expect that, and they're practicing it to create these habits for when they're older.
Well, habits. How long does it take an adult to learn a new habit? It takes you have to be told over and over again. And they'll tell you that you have to do something a lot of times before it's in a habit. And with children, it's the same way. So you just need to be patient, and they will eventually get it. But what happens a lot is the adults give up.
Yeah.
They get frustrated and they give up. They didn't hear this third time, they didn't hear the fourth time, I'm not going to even try anymore. And so the parents stop is what happens.
Yeah.
And you can't do that as a parent. It's the long haul. It's 18 years, and you signed up for it, so you keep going.
Yep. And it's a pain in the rear sometimes. And we're at the end for a few of ours.
I am.
We're worn out. But, you know.
It's like I say, I've been there, done that, and I know now I can relax more and I can enjoy the grandkids and that. It is hard. It's like an 18-year job, you know, that you have to work at and everything. Attitude, attitude, attitude.
Yeah.
This is probably
number one
number
idea.
one. Yeah, and this is what you need to get in line first before you do all the other ones. Because I don't care what you're doing in life, if you don't have the right attitude, you know, towards it, it's going to be harder work. You're going to dread doing it. You're going to be miserable, and you're going to make everyone miserable around you. Yeah. And you need to change your way of thinking that taking care of your home is a drudgery. You can't think that. You need to think that you're creating a place of peace and quiet and and an orderliness for your family to come home. Do we talk about the stress in the outside world that society is causing us, that politics and wars and all this causing stress in our children's life and schools causing stress? Well, okay, that may be out there, and I don't want to make light or small of that, but they need a place, then it's even more important to come home where it's tranquil, it's peaceful, it's organized. And they need that at the end of the day. You need that.
Yeah, and when your house isn't organized, you are frustrated all the time, and then you take it out on the kids or your husband.
The perfect example of this was when my kids were younger. We were remodeling our house for like 12 years, something. It was continual remodeling. 20 years. A long time. And I noticed something. Sometimes we get the house sort of put back together, and then it would be time to do another room, which the whole house would get messed up from doing just one room, tearing down walls and moving furniture out. And what I would do, I started watching, because I noticed this was going on. There would be peace in the house. Of course, the kids fought some, and there was stuff, typical stuff. But the minute we tore those walls down and the house was a shambles and I couldn't keep up with it, the bickering between the kids was unbelievable. I mean, it was constant. It like quadrupled, the bickering did. My husband and I would get a little bit irritated with each other over things normally we didn't even think about. And then I would watch the minute I get the house put back together, it was like the calm level just was unbelievable. You don't realize what having a peaceful house or organized house means to your family. Just take something simple like trying to get dressed in the morning.
Or fixing food.
Or fixing a meal. Nobody can find any clean clothes. There's no clean dishes. There's no food in the refrigerator that they can cook and fix. I mean, it just creates another whole thing of chaos. So you've got chaos in your outside world and you've got chaos in your inside world. And we're saying, well, it must be the technology of today. No. Let's face the reality. Let's point the finger where it really should go. And it's in your home. And you can counteract a lot of that by your attitude.
And it doesn't have to be perfection.
No. Oh, no.
For us, we have 5 kids and 4 pets. Our house does not stay clean. And I kind of figure if I have 30 minutes notice before someone is coming over, if we all pitch in and we can get the house picked up in 30 minutes, then that's my okay zone, so to speak. I don't know how you would say that. But to me, if we can all work together and in 20 or 30 minutes get the house picked up in pretty good condition, I'm okay with it. And we do that every day. It takes us about 15 minutes to 20 minutes, and we get everything picked up so that it's fresh and starts in the morning, because it's a fresh start in the morning, because it really grates on you when you wake up and you have this huge pile of dishes, right, dear? And you have to look at this big mess. Now, I'm chronically ill, so this is a lot harder for me than normal. But, we do call all the kids in and say, get in here, we're having a family cleaning time, and we do. And,
that's another thing, though. You've got what you said about being sick. There's going to be times in your life where you can't keep on top of it. You've got brand new babies at home, you're sick, you have sick children. You have to take that into account. You can't be one of these certain
Type A
gurus that have organized
organized.
That you get up every morning and your bathroom is clean and your bedroom spotless
you
clean.
do this, and this before the kids get out
of bed.
That's not life.
That's not real life. But you do the best you can. And having the right... Now, see, I can keep my house pretty clean. I don't have any kids at home. So it's a total different ball game for me right now. But part of it, the main thing is, if you've got the right attitude, I don't care what it is in life, it'll be much easier to do and handle and to deal with,
And we have an article on how to deal with discouragement, and it really talks more in depth on this. But, if you're having a problem with this, you might go ahead and read that article, because it really might help shed a little light on, why you're feeling discouraged and that kind of thing. But one thing that people do feel discouraged about is just their house being unorganized and a mess, and it really affects your attitude. So if you can switch your attitude around and say, okay, if I'm only going to get my kitchen sink cleaned and emptied every single day, that's what I've done, and at least start with that. But you've got to change your attitude, or you're not going to be able to do it.
Your home has to take a little bit higher priority.
Yeah.
We have gotten in the habit now with work and kids with school and all the extracurricular stuff of putting our home as at the very bottom. And you need to flip that around and put it, you need to think of it as giving a gift to your family of peace and quiet. This is a gift you give to your family, and you need to care about your family enough to work hard at giving them that gift. It's a sacrifice. don't, you have to, and we don't want to sacrifice anymore. Yeah. We sacrifice in the wrong ways. In what I think, should be, we sacrifice by going to work and earning lots of money to give our kids all the things they want. But we don't want to sacrifice in giving our kids a peaceful, quiet home. So we're putting it so low down, organizing your home and taking care of it. Another thing about your attitude too is you spend all this time worrying about it and thinking, I need to get it organized, but you don't do it. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll go on Pinterest and I'll work and look at ideas. You'll spend ages worrying about it, looking up how to do it, listening to videos like ours on how to do it, and instead just do it. Stop. If you took all the time you spent worrying and all this time you spent on Pinterest and just get something done, you'd have probably your whole house clean.
And it usually takes a lot less time than you think.
Yes.
So right now, stop this video. Okay, well, we want you to watch the rest of the videos, but stop this video for just 5 minutes and go load your dishwasher or clean your sink or pick up that pile of laundry, but do one thing.
Use rooms for their intended purpose.
Yeah. Don't get dressed in the living room. Hello.
Or undressed. Even like in the bathroom, often people complain about not having taking up time in the bathroom. Somebody spends too long in the bathroom. Start wearing bathrobes and you get dressed in the bedroom. Why carry your clothes all the way from your bedroom into the bathroom? Get dressed, you drop the dirty clothes, the kids tend to leave them there in a pile, and then go back to the bedroom. Why not just wear a robe or something and trot into the bedroom and get dressed in there? Don't use, try not to eat in the family room as much as possible. I know people are going to snack, but don't eat your full meal in the family room. There's a difference.
It's amazing. I used to be really, really strict with this with my kids. And the first 3, I would not allow them to eat at all in the living room unless it was a movie with popcorn. Last year, we had some major changes in our family. We had another child join the family, and we had a big upheaval. A family member died, and my niece came to live with us, and I really let things go because it was such a rough year. And now my 5-year-old, he eats all the time in the living room. And now I'm having to get him out of the habit, but it is amazing the mess that it makes all the time.
Yeah, eating in the bedroom. How many people take food into the bedroom, in the bed,
cups.
And then you've got this whole nother mess in the bedroom. You've got dirty dishes, extra stuff that you shouldn't have in there. Even in offices. You should be eating a meal in the office while you're using your computer or whatever. How many computers have gotten destroyed? It just kind of ripples out the effect of just...
The other day, I was carrying my flaxseed smoothie into the office because I need to get some work done and I didn't have time for breakfast. And I hit the wall accidentally with my arm and smoothie went all over everywhere.
Smoothie's still on the carpet.
Smoothie is still on the carpet because the oil in the flaxseed stained my carpet. So now I'm having to clean up this big oil stain mess in the middle of my hallway. I'm trying, and I've tried a couple times, and I can't get it up. And then we may have to call a $200 carpet cleaning bill just because I was too lazy to sit down for 2 minutes and drink my smoothie at the kitchen table.
And it's okay if you want to eat snacks in another, like the family room for watching TV or whatever, but make sure it's not red Kool-Aid, or make sure it's snacks that, wouldn't destroy the room too much. Another thing, as far as using the room for what they are, some people don't have a large laundry room, and I understand this, but do your laundry in the laundry room. Don't drag it, all over the house. I see going to people's houses and they have piles of laundry in the living room, in the family room, in the bedroom, mounted up. Find a specific place. If you don't have a big enough laundry room, if it's your kitchen table, find a specific place that's always where you do the laundry, so that the laundry is not spread through the whole house. And just everything like that, try to do a specific, keep it in an area. When you start spreading that stuff around, you're going to have that much more to clean up, messes to clean up. Be a wise steward of your time.
Yeah, so this is a biggie.
Yeah.
And people are going to, I'll put our disclaimer right here. You're going to say, well, this doesn't show me how to organize. I know we're going to get comments and emails, so I'm just saving you right now. We know this does not sound like it has anything to do with organizing, but if you don't get this down, you are not going to be organized at all. So, Be a wise steward of your time, which means...
Well, clean stuff as soon as possible. Don't waste your time letting it dry. Like I was talking, one time I was telling about how you lay a spoon down and it gets hardened, that type of thing.
I think that was our number 2 video.
Yeah, if something needs to be clean, clean it. Just don't think about it. I'll do it later. Just do it. As long as you're walking by it, clean it up. But also, on the opposite end of that, don't clean what doesn't need to be cleaned.
Don't be OCD about this, folks.
See people getting hung up on schedules. I mean, I go to different YouTube things and stuff, and it's like, I have this schedule to clean every light fixture in the house once a week on Monday. Well, if it's not dusty on Monday, why are you dusting it on Monday? Don't be a slave to your schedule. I don't have a schedule at all. I clean things when they need clean, because that saves me time. I'm not cleaning extra stuff, and I try, like we've talked before, about preventing messes. That's one way of saving your time. Another thing is volunteering.
Okay, we're going to get emails about this too. You can go ahead and email us, but I can guarantee you right now we are not changing our stance on this. We've been doing this for 18 years. And we have never changed, and we won't, because we have seen the effects that this has.
Volunteering at schools, at churches. I'm saying churches here, and we're going to get one.
And schools are the worst.
Charities. It's not that we're saying never ever do this. We boldly believe. I mean, we really believe in doing this. We do stuff ourselves, but we limit it, and I mean, we really limit.
And if your house is in order, if your house
is
not in order first, you don't need to be doing this.
You should not be doing
period.
That. Your house should be almost like a job.
Yeah.
You wouldn't tell your boss and say, I can't come to work today because I volunteered to do such and such at church or such and such at school or for this charity. No, you would show up at that job and then let the volunteer stuff work around that. And you need to treat organizing in your home the same way.
Yeah. And you have got to say no. And I know the schools are pressuring. I have 5 kids. 3 are in high school, so I've gone all the way through. And I'll be perfectly honest. I think I have volunteered maybe 3 times, and it was my husband, to go on a field trip ever for the schools. I am physically ill. I cannot do it all. And
if you did it, your house would go. You have to choose.
I would not be able to do it. And I don't feel guilty about it at all.
And limit the kids' activity.
Exactly.
It goes hand in hand,
Don't be having your kids in all these soccer and swimming and Boy Scouts and the church youth group and all this. You've got to limit these activities. You cannot be shuffling your kids around every day after school for 4 hours or 5 hours every single day and keep your house in order.
Give them a choice. You can, depending on your lifestyle, but say you can do 2 things this year, or 1 thing, whatever your lifestyle, what you can handle. Say you pick out 2 things that you want to do, music or drama or sports, a sport, but don't do 6 sports,
Or Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, but
anything.
You can't have drama, Boy Scouts, choir, and soccer and swimming lessons and ice skating all in the same time.
Don't volunteer at church to teach Sunday school, sing in the choir, usher, do all the different trips and missionary trips and stuff that they do at church. You can pick 1 or 2, but don't volunteer. Don't feel guilty about that. That's another whole subject in of itself. Yeah. And then another time waster is doing fruitless things like watching TV all day. Turn off the TV. Well, I have my soap operas, or I have this. But what's really bad now is spending time on the computer and on your phone, playing games and doing the Pinterest, the different YouTube stuff. You have got to control that. Yeah. And people, one thing I found, I was really bad when I first was married and kids started coming along. I loved watching the soap operas. I quit them. Boom. It was only a couple years after, because I would have the TV going and I would think, well, I'm washing the dishes or I'm folding the clothes, so I'm not wasting my time just sitting and watching it. But when I turned this crazy TV off, I got those jobs done twice as fast. I didn't realize how listening to the TV with one ear or wanting to go over and look at what was happening was extending the amount of time that it was taking me to do my jobs around the house. And then,
nowadays it's a phone.
Oh, I was just getting ready to say that.
Turn off your phone. You do not have to answer every text.
You don't need to check it every 2 minutes. Don't check it every 2 minutes.
If you're getting something done in the house, turn it off.
Don't talk on the phone.
Don't talk on it. Put it up away from you and get your work done. You may say, oh, well, I'm not talking on the phone. I'm just throwing a quick text over. No. And you don't have to answer those texts immediately.
Well, it's another thing about getting your momentum off whack. Every time you do that text, it takes you away from what you're doing, and it throws the whole momentum.
Yeah.
And
And people get so upset when you don't answer a text within 20 or 30 seconds. They can wait. They really can. Probably 99% of the time, it is not an emergency that you are needing to know something right away. It's very rare.
Texting has become a god in a sense.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it's
really
crazy.
Or addiction even.
Yeah.
It's more of an addiction. We holler about being addicted to drugs, but you're addicted to texting, and it can almost mess your life up in some ways really bad.
And so a quick text is almost never a quick text.
You don't realize how much time you spend talking on that phone, and not just the time talking on it, but you're in the middle of a job and you're on a roll and you're going for it, and the phone rings. You have to stop, go answer that phone, listen, blah blah blah. Then you get back to this job. You're never in the same rhythm again. You're never with the same momentum, and it just throws the whole thing off. I personally, what I do is, if I'm wanting to get a lot done that day, organizing something, a room or a closet, I will put the phone on the answer machine. And I will listen to whoever's calling, unless it's somebody at the emergency room. I consider it like if you were at a job at work. Would you spend that much time maybe I guess some people do spend that much time on their computer when they're not supposed to. But you know, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to spend that much time on your computer or phone at work. You wouldn't just answer it with your kids calling every 5 minutes, or somebody calling you, a friend calling, just to chit chat about the weather or whatever. So get rid of those time wasters like that. And shopping too is another one.
And use a timer. If you're on Pinterest, set your timer, 10 minutes. I'm looking through Pinterest. I keep a timer right by my computer, and I just set it when I need to do something, and then I know, okay, I'm done. And I can't look at it anymore. We all know you can spend years on Pinterest and you will never see everything you want to see. So you need to limit yourself and just cut it out.
But I was saying, shopping too is a lot of times you don't realize that you spend a lot of time wandering around the mall and different stores. You go there for one item, and how often do you just wander up and down? Those are all different types of time wasters that you do. You make excuses for not getting your stuff done. Anything that you're doing in place of getting what you need to be done is a time waster. Really.
And we have an article on our website about how long it actually takes to do certain chores. And we're saying this, I bet you're thinking, well, I don't want to spend 3 or 4 hours without your phone. We've literally timed chores, and we put that list on our website about how long it takes you to make the bed. 1 minute. Literally takes you 1 minute. Wash the dishes, 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. Keep on top of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, what happens is we get overwhelmed. We let everything get out of control, piled up, and so instead of having a 10-minute job to do, we've got a 4-hour job, if that. And if you learn to keep on, if you get it organized and keep on top of it from that point on, it shouldn't be overwhelming. That's why we get overwhelmed, because it's way too much. You should be able to clean your kitchen after a large meal for a good-sized family in about 15 minutes at the tops. But most people don't keep their kitchen that clean. They let it go all day long, and so they're cleaning up after 3 meals and a whole day's worth of collection of things.
And then when the stuff gets dried on, you have to let it soak longer. It's hard to get off. And
every time you put stuff off, it's about 10 times harder to clean. Learn to do 10-minute things.
Or even 5 minutes.
Or even 5 minutes.
Like if I'm boiling the water for macaroni and cheese, I'll clean out my silverware drawer, or I'll clean out my spice drawer, or I'll just one shelf in one cabinet. I'll sort all my pots and pans and put them back correctly where they go, or my bowls. Just do one shelf or one drawer, and you can get done. When you go to your pantry to take out the corn and you see the cans are all falling apart, I just go in and re-straighten it up. It literally takes me 1 to 2 minutes to straighten one shelf in my pantry. It is not hard, people. Hello.
And the same goes for, like, if you're working in a closet. Instead of thinking, how do I clean this whole mess of a closet? Once you get it cleaned, keep on top of the shelves in the closet, the way the clothes are hung in the closet.
When you go to put your laundry up, straighten out the underwear.
Yeah,
and
straight. Make sure every time I put anything away, whether it's towels in the linen closet, I look at that shelf, and if it's anything's out of order, I just automatically re-straighten. A couple of seconds instead of waiting for a whole month and then you can't find anything and you have to clean the whole thing out. Another thing is laundry. I hear so many people, they wait until Saturday. Even I was working 60 hours a week, and I would never do this. Put my laundry off until Saturday when I was off work. I would do a load. Well, I only had to do 4 loads a week. So those 4 days of the week, I would do 1 load of laundry. If I waited until the end of the week to do all my laundry, all my clean, I would be so overwhelmed.
Yeah, just do 1 load a day. You can do 1 load, even if you're working in the evenings. When you're doing dinner, throw it in, get it washed. After dinner, put it in the dryer. Then before bed, get it all folded and put it up. 5 minutes to fold it. And seriously, this is not the 1880s. Laundry is not difficult.
Not where you're boiling the water and having to hand scrub it. Well, in our book, Dining on a Dime, we've got a story that says, the question is, how do you eat an elephant? You eat it 1 bite at a time. Is how you do it. And this correlates with that. Do small amounts of things, and it's so much easier than trying to eat a whole elephant at one sitting. You can eat 1 bite, but not a whole elephant. And I think that's why so many people are overwhelmed now with organizing and cleaning. They just let it go. They don't make it top priority. They just let it go instead of each day before they leave the house, take 15 minutes to clean your kitchen, and you come home to a clean kitchen.
Yeah, or just say every day I'm going to spend 20 minutes getting something cleaned and picked up. Just 20 minutes. Anybody, even if you're working 100 hours a day, if you're chronically ill like we are, you can do 15 to 20 minutes a day, even if you have to do them in 5-minute increments. Just get it done.
Well, when we first got sick, I was so bad, I could do nothing, literally nothing. And the way I brought myself back to functioning again was one day I thought, I'm going to get up during this commercial and I'm going to rinse the dishes in the sink. And that's all I could do, and I collapsed back down. The next commercial, I got up and I washed the dishes in the sink, and I got faster and better where I was getting more done in that 5 minutes. And that whole day I did that, and I was so amazed at how much I got done in just doing that in 1 day's time. Don't be afraid to let it go.
Let it go, let it go. I don't need it anymore.
Purge that stuff and get rid of it. This is another one they're all pretty good, but this is another one that ranks right up there that causes people a lot of problems.
If you don't get it, you're not going to get a clean house.
Yeah, if you have too much stuff, we're talking, even like hoarders, that's the biggest problem. They don't want to let go of their stuff. And a lot of people have hoarder mentality in them without realizing it. Don't get emotionally attached to your stuff. People are so emotionally attached to their stuff. It just amazes me. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I love garage sales and I love thrift stores, and I am always coming home on garage sale day, 30 minutes after I left, telling Mike, I have to unload because I'm already full. But I also frequently, once or twice a month, will take that same amount to the Goodwill, thrift store, whatever it's called in your area, and get rid of it. Really, as I keep a Goodwill box in my garage, when I'm done reading that paperback book I got for 10 cents at the garage sale, I throw it in there. Normally, we try to pass our books and that kind of thing around between each other, but once I'm done, it goes in there.
We either give to friends.
Yeah.
When we get rid of stuff, we either do the Goodwill or we give to friends or family.
For family, and we check with friends or family first. But, if I'm doing the laundry and I'm folding clothes and I notice that they've outgrown this shirt, it goes immediately into the Goodwill. The same with kids' paperwork and artwork. People, you do not need to keep every single piece of paper they made in school.
Limit yourself. For example, say, okay, I'm going to keep 10 papers or
every year.
Every
10
year
papers.
for each child. And make a folder. Have a folder for each child and keep it in there, and then just have one, pleasant sized box for each child, and that should be all 12 years. That one box should hold everything for 12 years of school. And once it gets too full, purge out, get rid of stuff out of it and get it down again. You know what? My kids, I had kept stuff for a long time, even though not very much, but I had kept a lot. They didn't even remember it. And when I went to show it to them 30 years later, they didn't care about it at all. And so, and don't throw it out, though, in the front of the kids, and because the kids are attached to it. But at the end of the year, just tactfully let it disappear. Yeah. And they won't even know any difference.
A lot of stuff just disappears in the trash at our house.
Yeah.
And, I helped a family member clean out their basement, and they had one child, and they had 4 large totes of school papers. And the child looked at that and said, I don't want any of this. And the point was, why did you waste all this time and space and money on totes storing this when nobody wanted it?
And that goes for heirlooms too. You know, you have Uncle Henry's piece of driftwood. You don't even know who Uncle Henry is. And then if you do some research on it and you find out Uncle Henry wasn't even a member of your family, that he used that driftwood to throw the dog. He wrote in his diary, I throw that driftwood to the dog every day, and that's what you've been saving.
The same as with the kids. Every Christmas and every birthday, I have my kids go through their stuff, and they know it's coming, because when their birthday starts coming around, I say, okay, we're going to go through your room. We let our kids go through the stuff, and we say, okay, you can have 10 Hot Wheels cars. You pick which are your 10 favorite. The rest are leaving. You can have this amount of crayons that will fit in this box. You pick out the ones that you want. I know kids, I am not exaggerating, they have 500 or 600 crayons. Why?
Well,
100 Hot Wheels cars. You don't need to be organizing that stuff. Get rid of it.
Yeah, along that same line of kids having so many toys, I saw a thing once where the kids had shelves on the wall, shelves and shelves of boxes of toys. And they went, and the organizer came in and bought all these baskets to put like
$200. $1,000 worth of organizing stuff.
Yeah, but to put like 200 just of the Hot Wheels cars for the boys. There was 2 problems that happened. The boys were destroying the toys. They would stomp on them. They would break them, tear them apart. They didn't care. They had like 198 more that they could do. They had no respect for the toys, and they would take that basket that the organizer had put all these wonderful toys in, and they're going to dump it. Well, they dumped 200 out. They have to pick up 200, and they wouldn't pick it up. Where when they got them down to like 10 cars, they didn't break them because they didn't
respected their toys,
and they were more willing to pick it up because it's easier to pick up 10 toys than 200. You have to realize, people holler about, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time for this, and I want to do this and that. You spend how many hours organizing that stuff, cleaning that stuff, finding a place to put that stuff. Does that stuff mean that much that you want to waste your time on these things?
And your kids get stressed out looking at this
kids are
all the time.
Kids get very stressed out when they look to see, okay, I go to the store to buy shampoo now. It used to be we had 5 shampoos to choose from. Now I go, tons, 50 shampoos of oily hair that I have to choose. I get so stressed trying to figure out what shampoo to buy. Your kids have that same mentality when they go in their closet and look at all those toys. They get stressed out of, what am I going to play with? And very frustrating. That's another way we can alleviate stress in our family's life. Get rid of the mounds of stuff. Stop cleaning up the mounds of stuff.
You're not going to get organized. If you're organizing 500 mugs, if you're organizing 50, if you're organizing 10 mugs and there's 2 of you, and you don't ever have company over that uses mugs, get it down to 2, 3, 4. You don't need to keep this.
Those plastic cups from like McDonald's and those drinking cups, that's fine to have them. You don't need 60 of them.
Yeah.
Think, how long is it in between washing dishes?
How many yogurt containers do you need?
Yeah, well, the same way, how long do you go in between washing dishes? You wash dishes probably, or you should, once a day. So that means you should only need a couple of cups for each person of those plastic things. So, maybe if you have a family of 4, that means 8 of those cups are plenty. Calculate it out. Sit down and calculate it out. When I first moved into the house I have now, I had 12 large dinner plates, and I didn't have company that often. And I maybe use those dinner plates once a day, 1 dinner plate a day. Why do I have 12 of them stacked right there? Or am I keeping all of them?
And why do you have all this china that you never use? If you're not going to use it, get rid of it. I know it's grandma's. Keep 1 plate displayed on the wall and get rid of the rest.
Ask other family members if they want some, but don't store all of this stuff.
You don't need to keep it all. So our organizing idea number 10 is,
don't be afraid to
let it go, let it go.